Hello, everyone. Team 3's presentation will be analyzing Yahoo Incorporated, specifically the crisis brought about by the company's lack of self-identity and direction, culminating most recently in two of the largest data breaches. Yahoo Incorporated is a multinational technology firm, best known as one of the original internet pioneers. Yahoo was originally formed in 1994, the company's initial claim to fame being as a search engine, growing from there to become one of the largest and most popular media sites on the internet. Yahoo itself offers an array of services, including email, news, and web hosting. This strategy has led to disaster on several occasions, most recently in 2016 when Yahoo disclosed two security breaches. The first disclosed hack occurred in 2014. The second to be disclosed occurred in late 2013. These breaches allowed hackers to obtain data from more than 500 million and 1 billion user accounts respectively. These hacks are considered the largest in the history of the internet, and raise some serious concerns about the efficacy of Yahoo's security program. Yahoo operates in a crowded field, however, a natural consequence of trying to offer so many various services. With fierce competition from entrenched competitors such as Google and Facebook, as well as newer upstart companies that back off entire segments of Yahoo's media empire. Starting in the late 1990s, Yahoo's acquisition spree, sites, image hosting sites, contest pages, as well as Yahoo Auctions, which is Yahoo's answer to eBay, the North American version of Yahoo Auctions closing in 2007. Many of these purchases were ill-advised or poorly thought out, failing to take off entirely, and many others simply treading water. To that end, in the last decade, Yahoo has
Unfortunately, IT security and services have never been a main priority at Yahoo. Even from the time the company was founded, the emphasis was more about showcasing what was available on the internet rather than the technical capabilities of it. When Yahoo first founded in 1994, it was originally a web directory, a curated list of available websites. The site didn't first add a search engine until 1995 and actually outsourced the search capabilities to other companies, including at one point Google, until the launch of their own in house search engine in 2004. The priority has always been on content and media, compared to companies like Google and Microsoft, where the priority has been on technological capability and then determining what can be accomplished with that. Consequently, the corporate culture has always been very different. Unlike Google, which celebrates programming ability and incorporates it into most aspects of the company, Yahoo has emphasized the capability of a product for success rather than technical acumen, and that translates more often than not into profitability. In 2010, a major hack directed by the Chinese military was announced that had targeted numerous technology firms, including Google and Yahoo, as well as defense contractors. In response, Google poured hundreds of millions of dollars into investing in cybersecurity infrastructure and personnel, vowing to never again undergo such an attack. Other IT firms followed suit with their own improvements in security. Yahoo, however, only reluctantly addressed security concerns, refusing to make the trade-off required to improve security at the expense of making systems harder to use by consumers. Yahoo's internal security division was known as Paranoids, and requested enhancements were resisted on the basis of cost. As a result, Yahoo also faced a significant brain drain as their best security personnel, frustrated by lack of progress and support, were often poached by other tech firms. Perhaps the most damning evidence of a failure to adapt is that after any kind of user breach, the most standard action taken is an automatic password reset, prompting users to recover their account information. This was opposed by Yahoo's executive board as well as CEO Mayer, fearing that this would further erode Yahoo's email user base. Concerning the hacks themselves, in July 2016, account information for approximately 200 million Yahoo users was posted for sale on a darknet site. This first alerted federal authorities as well as Yahoo to the possibility of a breach. Further investigation found that the first hack occurring in late 2014 compromised approximately 500 million accounts, to include not only account names and emails, but personal information like passwords, birth dates, and telephone numbers. Yahoo reported to the SEC that they were aware of an intrusion made during this time, but were unaware of the extent of the damages. The second hack occurred earlier in August 2013 and affected approximately 1 billion accounts in a similar way. Yahoo only became aware of this, the largest breach in the history of the internet, when reviewing federal data from the other reported hack. Only at this point did Yahoo require all affected users to change their passwords as well as update security questions that may have been compromised. The consequences of this for Yahoo are many. First and most publicly, the anticipated buyout by Verizon has been put on hold pending investigation and is unlikely to resume. For a company that in 2008 rejected a takeover bid from Microsoft for $44.6 billion, the loss of an agreed bid 8 years later for a tenth of that amount is proof of how far the company has fallen due to lack of direction and positive change. Additionally, the negative publicity has led many users to abandon Yahoo email, and as a result, the primary driver to visit the Yahoo site on a regular basis. Lawsuits have already been filed against Yahoo, citing a lack of appropriate security measures with people's information, as well as mishandling and lack of reporting concerning the breaches themselves. Finally, the SEC is also investigating under concerns that Yahoo did not properly report the hacks in a timely manner, seeking to ascertain whether the web giant did in fact have credible knowledge or improper access. Yahoo is in turmoil, both as a result of previous concerns about the company's identity and core focus, as well as this recently publicized security lapse. But at the same time, this represents the greatest opportunity for change within the company itself. Yahoo has long sought to distance itself from the IT aspects of its business, but paradoxically has relied on it, especially the user base provided by Yahoo Mail. The company culture has been conflicted due to this, as well as the shifting and labyrinth priorities set by the media giant. What is needed is a clear direction, initially sought by Marissa Mayer, but with adequate responses to existing line of business that the company cannot afford to cut ties with. But Yahoo has fallen into a classic error by seeking to use an outside CEO to forge a direction. As Colin and Porras point out, this kind of leader is adept at time telling, which is advantageous, but the company is lost again when the leader moves on. What is needed instead is clock building. Building a company from the ground up that can endure through difficult situations by having clear vision and a precise understanding of what its purpose is. And that requires a change in the corporate culture. The current culture is fractious and doesn't have any alignment on what the company is in existence to do. Senior executives need to determine what the company's core ideology is, the company's purpose, and the values that it holds true. Then, and only once this has been established, they need to determine the company's envisioned future, using a bold mission and a vivid description of what that future would entail and what needs to be done to ensure it. Goals need to be laid out that would cover the next 10 to 20 years of operation as an end goal. This would ensure alignment by all employees that they're working towards the same ends and provide a baseline to determine if a given action is moving towards that or might actually work at cross purpose to the company's goals. The resistance to this change would come from people thoroughly entrenched in the existing confusing corporate culture that emphasizes short term goals and acquisitions, rather than establishing an overarching holistic approach that strengthens the company in the long term. As Trompenaars and Williams put it, the company best resembles an Eiffel Tower culture, hierarchical, centralized, but and bureaucratic. Procedures are tedious, and any change can expect to see glacial progress.
As a result, the radical sort of change that's been needed has met with resistance, and the change that has occurred as the company has begun to mature with respect to reckless acquisition has been ill advised. Yahoo has a tendency to acquire competitors in fields that it thinks it should be competing in, while committing several disastrous errors. First, Yahoo analyzes a competitor or a technology as something that adds value to its core business without adequately defining what that core business is. As a result, many of its acquisitions are not fully supported or are left to wither on the vine. A case in point would be Flickr. Once it was acquired by Yahoo, no real changes were made and the site has stagnated. Conversely, Yahoo also refuses to learn from its acquisitions, adding their capabilities without incorporating the lessons these companies have learned. Hegelian dialectics teaches that as a thesis comes into conflict with its opposite, an antithesis, there will eventually be a synthesis, a resolution by which the thesis will be changed by the antithesis. This has occurred throughout history with empires and companies alike. As you grow and expand and come into contact with other entities that you take over, in order to properly assimilate them, you change yourself. Yahoo rejects this and seemingly learns no lessons. Another issue faced by Yahoo, similar to that of acquisitions, is the homegrown brands that the company launches, often in support of the Yahoo experience. Services such as Yahoo Kickstart or Yahoo 360 were social media sites that were supposed to offer an alternative to Facebook or MySpace, which both have since closed. These and numerous other services were started to address a perceived need, but with no strategy in place to identify how they would succeed on their own against competitors with fully realized identities and strategies. As a result of this, Yahoo expends financial and human resources developing and operating these services to the detriment of other brands. The resources that were requested to improve much needed cybersecurity and additionally, for any kind of meaningful organizational development to occur, scenario planning needs to be adopted. This pertains to the earlier given examples of Yahoo acquisitions not being developed to their full potential. Scenario planning in this context would involve a frank look at the state of the industry, whether that be web hosting, email servers, or social media. The likely direction it will move in after a number of years, normally 5, 10, and 20 years respectively, and then build likely scenarios around the best case scenario, the scenario that best reflects given trends, and the worst case scenario. In this way, Yahoo could determine what steps would best be taken dependent on the state of the industry. For example, if Yahoo acquires a music streaming company, Yahoo Music, Yahoo Music, which it later sold to Rhapsody in 2008. Scenario planning would take into account industry trends and build likely scenarios. What direction is the industry moving in? And what's the best and worst case version of that? By building an action plan that addresses each scenario, even something as simple as best case scenario, Yahoo Music is the number one streaming music service, expand operations and pursue acquisitions of rivals, or worst case scenario, sales figures are in decline beyond a set point, spin off or sell Yahoo Music. It establishes not only recommended actions, but a baseline for progress. If there is agreement about what should be done in
With respect to the change we've seen so far since Marissa Mayer has come on board as CEO, performance has been mixed. Despite her desire to streamline things, under Mayer, Yahoo has continued its series of acquisitions, acquiring 53 companies at an estimated cost of $2.3 billion over the last 4 years. Of those companies, the majority were to combat brain drain in Yahoo's critical positions. As a rule, outside of highly specialized fields, the majority of a company's staffing should be as a result of competitive hires, not the assimilation of companies for their workforce. Of Mayer's 53 acquisitions, 41 have since been shut down. The remaining 12 do continue to work within Yahoo itself, either internally, as part of Yahoo's divisions, or as standalone companies. A good example of the latter would be Tumblr. Tumblr itself still operates semi-autonomously, although in this case, the lack of support, direction, and leadership has led the former social media darling to stagnate. There has so far been no meaningful effort made to improve cybersecurity. Yahoo has contracted multiple outside security firms to investigate breaches.
This slide shows a process that can be used to evaluate scenarios from beginning to decision making. We feel it is vital for Yahoo to test scenarios in order to be successful in any type of organizational or cultural change. This picture gives a visual of what happens to scenarios over time, whether it is in days or years. Most companies tend to stay away from this analysis as it consists of many variables that affect decisions and may be unreliable than traditional predictions, depending on what it is being. In order for Yahoo to be successful, they should consider using a process as the one shown. Not only does it provide constant communication throughout the process, but allows for many things to occur between the initiatives and actual change that will encourage more employee motivation and willingness to. Please feel free to use the references we use to present this presentation on the next two slides. Thank you for your time.